I don't know if there was any really big announcements from GenCon. I wasn't paying enough attention. And in fairness, I'll be honest with you, I didn't get a lot of information or news about GenCon this year. It just didn't seem like I was getting pictures from people this year. So in some ways I was like very thrilled that it was like, I was thrilled that way because I'm like, I'm kind of like sitting there and I'm like, oh good, I don't feel bad for missing it because I'm not seeing anything other than the only thing I saw was the usual, and now we open the vendor area. And it's like
the sea of people.
Yeah, the sea of people. And all it reminded me of, and that's not where I ever want to be at that time.
Ready to spend $300 on board games, well, won't buy $3 worth of deodorant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Which allows us to start the show. Welcome to the Squares of the Roundtable podcast. I'm Jeff Stein. With me is Mike Boyle.
Greetings.
I don't know where Ivan is. Maybe he'll pop in. If not, we certainly have a good amount to talk about. It's funny you say that about they will spend $300 on games, but they will not spend $3 on deodorant.
Even $2 if you go to like CVS or a Dollar Tree.
You know, here's an idea. Just go into the bathroom and take some water.
Yeah. That's all you gotta do.
And some paper towels. Well, in fairness, paper towels might be gone.
Just hit, the sensitive spots. The pits and the crotch and maybe the chest. That's all you gotta do. Wash your ass.
This all goes back to...
But I miss GenCon a lot.
I miss it on some levels, but there are other parts where I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm okay with not being there. What I noticed about Indianapolis is because of where the costs get at this point.
Yeah. I never had to experience that while being in Milwaukee.
Right. Well, yeah, and Milwaukee's different because, I don't know. Milwaukee always seemed like it was easier to get a hotel room, and worst comes to worst, you just stayed further out or something like that.
Oh, yeah, we always stayed by the airport, so we didn't care to commute. It was all right to us.
Parking was never that horrible when we were in Milwaukee for some strange reason, and I don't know why. In Indy, I know why in Indy, and we're going to get to that in a second. But yeah, for some strange reason, and I don't know why, I noticed it more in Indy than I ever noticed in Milwaukee. You got people where I swear they're like walking around the city at like 3 a.m, just walking around in groups and packs, and it's like, go back to your hotel room. Oh, we don't have one. We're just going to be transients all weekend and park ourselves wherever we can find some sleep. And it's like, no, that is the problem. Stop doing that. Have some place where you have to go. It's turned into like a hostel kind of thing for some people where it's like they think it's like what they can do is they have their bag and stuff and they have all that stuff and they like kind of like carry it around with them and they carry all their crap with them and they make changes along the way during the week and like, okay, well at some point maybe I find a bathroom where I can kind of wash up or something.
Yeah, I can chum up with a friend and borrow their shower and
right. Well, I don't even think it's borrow a shower. It's okay, maybe I can sneak into somebody's pool for a minute.
Oh. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's kind of where I'm like, there's a bunch of that, and there's some people who don't even care. It's just like, okay, I find a bathroom and I'll just figure it out. And it's like, yeah, that's not good enough. And in fairness, the other thing is and I can say this because it's even though it's been a while, I put money on the fact that this is still a problem. Bathrooms
by Sunday morning.
Oh, frick! Sunday morning. Let's talk about like 1:00 on Wednesday before, and the con ain't even officially opened yet, and they already look like somebody like
put a grenade in there.
Like a hurricane went through there, and it's disgusting as hell. And God forbid, and it's like they're nice facilities. It's like people are just, it's like a sty, and you walk in there and you're just like, okay, God forbid I have to take a poop. God forbid you have to take a poop. It's like There's water on the floor. It's like,
you don't know what kind of moisture that is, if it's actual water or if it's something else.
Oh, it's so,
it is.
And you're like, God, come on, guys.
Yeah. I've known con stories of people who have like doing other than anyway, yeah, we still miss Gen Con, but then just dealing with the fact that we're dealing with people who are not socially.
Now, I will say this. The one advantage is if your stuff, and this is the only advantage I will give to the fact that the convention has, in some ways, moved out of the convention hall somewhat, which is if your stuff's in like a major hotel, chances are there are less problems like that. Okay? Well, let's hear ready. We'll play some inside baseball for once. We stopped because we were trying to get Ivan on, and at some point maybe we'll get him on, or well, I'm not interested in getting him off. Anyway, you get the point. But yeah, I think we were talking. So we were talking, and yeah, if you're at one of the hotels, because there's a lot of gaming that are at the hotels now, that's better with the bathrooms. Because you've got regular hotel staff that has to make sure those bathrooms are clean.
Daily.
Yeah. Well, not beyond daily. Like, regularly. Like, hourly.
Yeah, and there are regular, like, public restrooms, too.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Those bathrooms have to be...
Not just the ones in the rooms, right.
Right. So, I mean, that's the one thing I would say is an advantage to them moving out of the convention center for some of the games is... that's a positive.
Yeah, and being older, it's different than when we were in our 20s. What's all like, now we want comfort over budget. We want something, we want to be sure we're comfortable, and we got all the amenities.
I think that's the part that amazes me, Mike, is how many people who are still our age are still like, yeah, screw comfort. I just want cheap.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, okay. Does anyone have like an extra room? Like, I'll sleep on the floor.
Yeah.
So I'll throw $50 towards the room.
Yeah, like I still know people where it's like, yeah, they'll stay like 6 to a room that barely fit like like 3 to begin with, and you're like, okay.
No.
And you're like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
Not more.
I will admit, I think Uber and Lyft do change the game where maybe you don't have to stay downtown if you don't want to, and you can find better lodging.
Yeah, and that's better for the people who fly in.
Well,
obviously.
it's not even that. It's like, for example, the big headache used to be like, I always sat there and said, yeah, you know what? I could stay out because I lived in Indy for 5 years. And granted, it's been 20-something years, but here's the thing. It's been 20-something years, but I still know enough to know where I can find a little bit cheaper lodging where, P.S., I don't have to pay for parking every day. Okay? And so...
Yeah, and now your Uber can pick you up at the hotel and drive you downtown.
Right. Versus, and P.S., if I'm done at 1 o'clock in the evening, okay, and it takes me 40 minutes to get back, it takes me 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes to get back to the hotel, I don't have to worry about, I got to be up at the crack of dawn to go find parking again so that I have parking in the morning, because if I don't do that, there's no parking. Yeah. And I can't get up I can't be like, I'm getting up at 10 for a 12 o'clock game. For a noon game or something like that. Yeah, that's the stuff.
Did we get any big news out of GenCon?
See, that's what I don't know. I haven't paid. I gotta be honest. I didn't pay that much attention to that stuff. Maybe I'd feel more like that. But my friends didn't put out a lot of information, or didn't put out any cool pictures or anything, and I don't know. So I was kind of like, in fairness, I was kind of like, good. I'm not seeing anything. This is good. I like this. I like that I'm not seeing anything because now I'm not going to feel bad about it. But I'm sure there were some deals and stuff. I thought the most interesting thing was I had somebody who used to work for Mayfair Games who told me something really interesting. They told me, you know how San Diego's got, everyone thinks San Diego's the biggest, right? Because they get like 100,000 plus people there for the entire weekend, right?
It seems to be the big mecca.
Right. So it's interesting. Here's what I didn't know. I guess when that happens, it's possible that they're counting some of those people. You can't buy a single day ticket or something.
Yeah, one day. Yeah.
You have to buy it as a 4-day, or I don't know how this person was explaining it, but it's somebody who should know. And they were claiming, based on the way that they count versus how GenCon counts, that GenCon is actually the larger convention by number of actual people.
Right, because they're counting individuals.
Right.
Right.
So, in terms of the actual...
And it seems right because it's a more central location. You get the not just the West Coast, but to get the sweet spot, the Florida, New York, Chicago, and everything in around it.
I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised because really, in this day and age where comics is still huge, it's because you don't get like the big... You don't get like... I mean, you get some celebrities who come out to Gen Con, but you don't get like what they do, like where you'll get live streams and updates and some of that stuff. Although, I guess Gen Con had a Twitch, and I don't know much about Twitch, and I'll admit that, but I guess Gen Con had a Twitch channel that you could follow, and if they had interviews and all that kind of stuff, which was, I didn't do it, but I guess it's kind of cool. But I feel like that's kind of where, I feel like there's more buzz on San Diego. Like, for example, okay, there'll be stars, and there'll be this, and there'll be movie premieres and stuff like that, where that kind of stuff doesn't really happen at Gen Con. It just doesn't happen. So I don't know. I mean, it's not like they don't bring celebrities in. They will. But yeah, I just don't know. I don't know.
Well, it's still fun to do for different reasons other than Gen Con, or other than San Diego, because it's strictly, well, mostly gaming. Now there's obviously more under that umbrella. And I can only talk about my time in Milwaukee. And I know that it's gotten geometrically huge in size since it's left Milwaukee. But just thinking fondly back in my days of going to Gen Con and just gaming all weekend and buying games and then going back to the hotel room and playing games and getting drunk. So
yeah, it's interesting because there's organized play, and then there's, can you find people who are just sitting around looking to find somebody to play? And
they'll find a wall and just like open and people sitting on the floor opening their brand new game. It's like that was like, I remember going to the show and just seeing that, and it was like, it's just so absurd. Just like someone would just sit down in this among these masses of people walking back and forth, and they'll just find a corner by a beam or a pillar or something, and just sit and they're opening their game and punching all the cardboard off the sprue and like, whoa.
Well, and you still get, depending on what hotel, you still get like those people who are like taking over the lobby, where it's like a section of the lobby where it's like, okay, we found a place to sit down and play our game. And you can find those people. And there still are those games where they happen at 2 a.m. at in somebody's room. Now, in fairness, that's never been something I've done much of. Maybe because, truth be told, I'm one of those people who are, it's like I'm more the the time slots are 8 to this to this to that, and by the time I'm done with those, usually I'm kind of like, I'm tired, I'd like to go to bed now. Especially if I've started at 8 o'clock in the morning and really gone all the way to 1.
And you've got something going on at 9:30 or 10 that's scheduled, and and it's 3 in the morning. You got to kick these guys out of the room.
Right. Well, it's not even kick the guys out of the room. It's you go to somebody else's room and things happen. Or if anything, one of the things I need to look at too is, I'll admit, at Gen Con, I am one of those people where it's like, I kind of want to sit there and I kind of want a hardcore game. And then, yeah, I want to get something to eat. I'm not all that interested in the drinking side of it unless I'm going to take some time off to go do that. And sometimes I don't want to take some time off to go do that because I'm paid to be here, and it's like, okay, I guess. Again, that's just me, and I'm not against getting together and drinking or something like that, but honestly, I'd rather not go to the bar, especially the last time when it's like, I had this insane room, and I said to people, like, we could go get alcohol. I got a refrigerator. We can hang out here. And people were like, no, I want to go to the bar. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, why just... And you're with the masses, and people are talking, and you got to lean in close to the ear, and
right. And in fairness, some of that doesn't bother me, but like I said, I mean,
it's just more convenient.
But yeah, that stuff still happens even in Indy, where it's. And the other thing is, unlike in Wisconsin and unlike in Milwaukee, the convention center is open 24/7. So that building opens when GenCon opens on Wednesday, and that building doesn't really close until GenCon officially closes on Sunday. So if you want to hang out in the convention center at 3:30 in the morning
on a Thursday night,
or on Friday night, Friday
any
early,
night,
you get the idea. That can be done. It's one of the reasons why I kind of make the comment about GenCon's gotten a little bit more transient, in that you got people kind of like walking around, and they're walking around.
And they're nomads.
Right. They're walking around the convention. They're walking around the city. And that's the other thing. It's like, it was bad enough before that gamers get stinky. Now you've got transient
It's like
people.
Tom Hanks in the terminal.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, no worse, because they're walking around the whole city. They can't. It's not like they
can't leave the convention center. You're right.
Right, they're walking around, and the best is some of them are in their cosplay stuff, and they've got their stuff, and you can totally tell. And they got like the little wagons with all their shit and all their games and stuff.
Wagons,
and it's like, well, I call them wagons because it's like they got their there's some of these people. I don't. They bring all their stuff.
Their carry-on luggage or whatever, with their wheeled luggage.
Forget carry-on luggage. It's like they got like a cart, and it's like they got their minis, and they got every freaking book they need, and they have all kinds of stuff, and you're just like, holy guacamole, you got to carry that all weekend? I mean, I know some people where it's like, and I get it in some regards, which is, you don't want to pay the prices for food. Okay, you've decided that you're going to bring a cooler or something, but there are people who it's like they're bringing all their stuff, and then they're bringing a cooler, and it's like they got like a million things, and you're like, oh my god, it's like, and P.S., it's usually like ridiculously hot. So it's like, now you're lugging all this crap. It's like 90 or 100 degrees outside. It's like, okay. I don't.
Yeah, was it hot this weekend in Indy?
I'm sure it was. Yeah. It's always that way. But yeah, that's the only other thing about it is, it's funny too, is Milwaukee seemed to get it more. Okay, Milwaukee seemed to get it more that when we were in town, okay, let's keep the doors open a little later because there's business to be made in the late night. With the obvious thing being, okay, sure, there's this thing called the law, and we got to be closed by a certain time. Indy still has this mentality with some of the places that they have, where they just don't get it. Like, some of them do, like, God, I can't remember what it is. There's what chain it is.
What, restaurants?
Yeah, there's a chain that does alcohol, that has beer or alcohol, and I can't remember. The Ram. There we go, it's the Ram. Where they had worked out a deal with the Ram, where the Ram was open 24/7 during GenCon. Okay, which. And when I went, back in the day, I think there's more places than that now. But back in the day, it was like the Ram, and that's it. and it was like everybody was at the Ram. After it was done. I think it's a little better than that, but there's still like I remember there being like I think there's an Arby's not far away by car, and it's like if you're like in the late game and you're done at 1 a.m, good luck finding food.
Right, at least, but in the next 6 hours or whatever, you have to wait.
Yeah, well, and it's like it's weird because it's like you sit there, like there's a Fridays that's right near there too. It's like stay open a little later. Nope, you make more money if you stay open a little later. Just like there's certain times because this changed when it went to Indy, which was they would take the formalized convention slots are 8 to noon. Well, basically 8 to like basically almost before noon to 4. And then what they would do is they'd take an hour break from 4 to 5 instead of going straight at 4. So it would go 5 to 9 and then 9 to 1. Okay. Well, okay, you can take a wild guess what trying to get food like is like in that 1 hour time period.
Right. Everyone's got a mad dash.
And it's like, okay, I'll give you the first year. I'll give you like there's a Fridays that was right next to the convention center, and I'll give you in the first year that you didn't know any better, but you knew better in the second year. And they were just like, yeah, we're gonna put up the same amount of people and we don't care. I'm like, okay, you could be making more money and you guys could be making better tips and stuff if you didn't, because like you walk over there and it's like, oh my God, good luck. You might not get a seat for 2 hours. Was
there a situation with food trucks down there in front of the convention center?
Maybe that this year there is. Maybe now because food trucks is a thing.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. The first year of so it's interesting because, back when they moved, because I was president of Game Base 7, which at the time was running like the biggest individual group program for anybody at GenCon, they invited us down to Indy to take a look at the facility and everything, and we went out to dinner with them and stuff. And they were talking about how they were going to have vendors that went around with food and all that stuff. That didn't really end up happening. And it was funny. They were supposed to have all this stuff that was really cool, and it sounded really good because that building is huge. I mean, just huge. The convention center is, like, ridiculous. It's like, if you want to get your steps in, I mean, and you've seen people who game, some of them are really out of shape.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got into shape that weekend.
Yeah.
Depending on where you had to go, because I'm like, there are times when I'm like, I am dying. But I'm like, I am dying. It's like, oh, you want to get food? Where I gotta go? No. No, I'll starve for a while, I think. Sometimes people are like, let's get you some food. What do you want?
And at the same time, when you've got, like, obviously, yeah, with Uber and Lyft, and like I said, with food trucks, you've also got apps like DoorDash and Grubhub and all that, where the chain eateries can still deliver to the hotels.
Well, yeah, there's that now, and I will say what I was bringing up was so the first year they were supposed to have some things available to GenCon, and it didn't happen. So here's what the first year looked like. The first year, it was interesting because Andy really didn't know anything about GenCon. They were aware of it, but they were just like, okay, gamers, okay.
It's like any other trade show.
Right. Well, it's not that. It's like they had no understanding of what onslaught was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And as they got more understanding that weekend, what ended up happening, and I'll tell you, after the first year, this got outlawed. But what was happening was all of the local pizza establishments were like sending guys down to double park with a boatload of pizzas, and they'd grab like one of those rolling chairs, and they'd be walking through the convention center going like, yeah, $10 for a like $10, like $8 for a pizza. Oh, really? Done.
Here, yeah.
And they'd sell those out like crazy. I mean, they could be like, they could like show up, and within 15 minutes they're leaving to go back to buy more pizza, to bring back more pizza.
Right.
And it wasn't, and the best it was, at one point I'm looking at like the pickup area, like for like where people come pick people up, and it's filled with like Pizza Hut, little Papa John's, Domino's. Anybody and everybody had figured out
selling
that
right
GenCon was in town, and they were sending their people down that way with pizza, and just being like,
selling
okay,
out stacks of
we'll
pizzas.
Yeah, but it
seems
became
smart.
very obvious. Right. Well, and the reason they figured it out was they started getting calls like crazy from people in the area for pizza and for food. And they were getting overwhelmed by how much people were calling for that stuff.
Right.
And it's like no one was putting two and two together of gamers. Gamers like food. Gamers like pizza. As soon as they started really putting this shit together,
yeah,
that's what they started doing. It's funny. The next year that didn't happen. They didn't allow that. But
right.
yeah, but it was funny because that first year, like I said, I mean, literally it was like they were just, you know, it was funny because people, like, you'd see guys walking with big things of pizza. I'm like, okay, what company are you? Oh, Domino's. Oh, I hate your stuff. Who's that? Who's that over there? Papa John's? Oh, cool. Okay. What do you got? What do you got left?
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of like that.
So, long story short, we missed GenCon. So you going back? You think you're ever going to go back?
You know, I was saying to a few people that maybe next year is my year. And it was funny. One of the people I was talking to about that, of all people, he'll get a kick out of this, of all people, is Peter Atkinson, who is the owner of GenCon.
Okay. And what did he say?
He was like, because I said to him, it was funny because I put up a post and it was like, because I remember a conversation we had back in the day where I was like, we need to get more people. And he's like, Jeff, how many more people do you want? I'm like, I don't know. I want lots of people. He's like, you should really be careful what you wish for. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know, he was really right about that. And so I tagged him on it on Facebook. He was like, yep, all true. And I'm like, it was funny because I said to him, I said, you know, I got to be honest with you, Peter. Half the reason I haven't been there is it's like, hotel's kind of expensive, and I don't want to live like a savage, and I admit that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm beyond that too.
And I've had times where I've had Hyatt free nights or points available, and they won't let me use them at that time frame, the one downtown. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, screw that. But here's the thing I've been thinking about, which is now that there's like Uber and Lyft, now obviously I'm a bigger guy. I got to figure out how to make sure. I don't know enough about Uber and Lyft, but I got to make sure that the car is the size I can get into. But there's a part of me where I'm like, I think the ones, like there's Hyatts or Hyatt places out on each side of town that I bet I could get free. And if I only had to take Uber and Lyft in every day, that wouldn't be too bad. I might be able to swing that. Then I might be able to swing it because I wouldn't have to pay for parking every day. And then I would be able to get free hotel. And at that point, my only costs would be gasoline, food, badge,
drive
games.
Down there, yeah.
Yeah, games. Because I don't know. And because the other thing is, don't get me wrong, I love to go buy stuff, but I don't know about you, Mike. I think your gaming group is different than mine because it's like, with my gaming group, sometimes I'm just like, okay, I buy something and then they're like, great, you run it. I'm like, that's not why I bought this.
Well, it's your game. You should run it.
Right.
Well, you were the one with it longest. You should learn the rules. And if you learn the rules, then you should be the one who runs it.
Right. And then it becomes, okay, can I teach other people to run this game? No, you can run it all the time now.
Yeah. My gaming group is I'm not the one who buys the new games. They are. Because I have one guy who'll buy a game and then, I don't like it. I've sold it on eBay. And then another guy who's just like, he'll have like a birthday or an anniversary or something, and the wife will give him a gift card, and he'll go to other, online places and buy these games, and then we're the guinea. Then our gaming session is sometimes established stuff, but other times we're the guinea pigs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think I would feel differently, like if I was doing your games, because it's like, you guys do mostly like the card games and the board games and that stuff.
Yeah.
And you guys have a regular gaming group with those types of games. Whereas what I'm usually ending up happening is, this is a really cool role-playing game. And there's 1 million books, and I'm happy to go buy those 1 million books that cost a small fortune. Okay. And then it's like, all right, let's play. And it's like, yeah, you can run it. And it's like, after a while, I'm like, is anybody else going to be willing to run this? No, because you are. At some point, I wanted to play this game. I didn't just want to be the GM. And it's like, no way. We're not doing this anymore.
No, see, that's... If you can find people who are flexible like that and they'll take one for the team and let someone else run it.
Right. Well, that's the other thing. It's like, once upon a time, in college, it was really simple. It was like, everybody would kind of rotate. Everybody was a little bit more flexible, and everybody would rotate. What I've kind of noted, or like, we would all kind of like, okay, we'd create like a shared gaming universe for a role-playing game, and that would work. As I've gotten older, people just don't want to do that. People just want to do their crap. Like, I try to get 3 people to work together to create something for a Star Wars game so I can regularly play instead of having to run it. And the first guy screwed up so much, the other 2 were like, yep, we're not doing anything with it. And basically we lost out. So, but, it's funny, we've gotten this far, and I guess the question is, so I should ask, Mike on vacation, that's why we didn't have a show. Show's closed.
Yeah. I figured that was the correct analogy, the correct meme to put up.
Yes. You don't post Florida, but okay, yeah.
Sorry, folks, park's closed.
Yeah, park's closed.
But no, I had a great vacation. Got so many... Well, firstly, they firstly came at it, my trip to Pennsylvania was postponed because a family member fell ill, so they couldn't travel. So we pushed it to the end of September, so we'll go then. But that's okay, though. They'll be fine. But I finished a book by Neil Ross called Vocal Recall. It was a really good story because, obviously, us being radio guys, and this guy growing up and wanting to be like the hot DJ, but he never became a hot DJ. He went on to, because there's, but anyway, it was a great story. And, how he got into voiceover and all the stuff. But like, I never IMDb'd him until like after I read the book on purpose, because I wanted to find out about all the stuff he did. He was, let's say, almost stuff. Not just obviously because I know of him because he was the voice of some of the Transformer characters and G.I. Joe. But there's other stuff he did that I never knew he did. He was the voice of the Pod's computer in Inner Space with Dennis Quaid.
And Martin Short.
And Martin Short, yeah. Great film. I loved that movie back in the 80s. He was the voice of Rambo in the animated Rambo cartoon.
Oh.
Which
I'm your worst nightmare.
It's funny that he never met Sylvester Stallone. He's got some great stories about, just in general, of meeting people over the years. Let's see, he was also the voice of Mean Gene Okerlund in the Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Heroes or something. Rockin' Wrestling, yes. He was Mean Gene. Yeah. Because all the wrestlers were too busy touring the country, they didn't have time to record their lines. Sometimes they did some live segments in between the cartoon, but he never met any of those. But yeah, he was Mean Gene because he was like the announcer voice, which is where he was from. He emceed the Oscars one year. I think it was 2002. That was
really?
the year that the radio almost fell on Steve Martin's head.
Oy.
But yeah, he's interesting, really interesting stuff. Great stories, great read. I finished my electric wiring for my transformer display. It looks awesome. I'm looking at it right now, and it is amazing. Speaking of Transformers, me and Ivan, wish he was here to talk about it, but me and Ivan went and saw the Cybertronic Spree on Friday night. Now, Ivan had mentioned
that?
it. I'll explain. But Ivan mentioned to it on a show a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I can't make it because I'm going to Pennsylvania. I wrote it off. But then, like, the night before, like the Thursday afternoon, somebody reminded me on Facebook that it was happening because they're like, hey, Mike likes Transformers. I remind him of this. It's a rock group that dresses in not just, I want to say cardboard. I mean, it's obviously, it's like polystyrene and other materials.
Sure.
But to sum it up, they dress in costume as Transformers characters, and they play a lot of the music from the Transformers soundtrack, and they also do kind of like rock 80s covers, like they did the Immigrant Song, that one has like tons of hits on YouTube. Actually now that after the weekend's over, they've had other people who have been on who have put their videos up on YouTube, like entire songs. So I just did a search last night for Cybertronic Spree Beat Kitchen, and there was a tiny stage for all these it's cheapening it to say the word cardboard. I know they're not made out of cardboard, but I mean they do.
But they're basically cosplaying.
Yeah, they're cosplaying while they're playing music.
Right. It's kind of like a GWAR thing, except for it's Transformers, and it's not GWAR music.
Got it.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And it's funny because like I've heard these songs for 30 years of my life plus, and then when it's being played live and you hear the bass in the pit of your gut, and you're in a crowd of cheering people, a switch went off, and I was getting into it. I was throwing up the horns, I was headbanging, I was yelling. I lost my voice Saturday morning.
Okay.
But it was awesome. I had a great time. Of course, I put it on my Facebook post. Let's see. I had some chores to do around the house. I did like an average of like one a day. So I just did a nice little staycation. Lots of R&R.
So you were where were you supposed to go in Pennsylvania?
Erie. Pretty much.
Erie.
A suburb of Erie.
Erie, PA, baby. That's that thing you do.
Yeah, that's right.
I love that
Which
movie.
I don't think that movie was ever... I think they might have... A couple of scenes might have been filmed in Erie. I don't remember. I'll have to look that up. But it wasn't actually Erie. It was like a suburb of Erie. But it's near there. It's like when I live up in McHenry County, people say, where are you from? I say Chicago because people don't know. I finished season 2 of Cobra Kai. Loved it. Awesome. They kind of did like a similar arc in like they did in season 1, like leading up to the finale. Whereas they kind of did that last season. But that was it. I mean, I'm just eating it all up. I love it. The dynamic between not just the teenagers, but obviously still Johnny and Danny. They have this rivalry, but they're like still very much alike, and they have shared interest because being kids at the same age. And yeah, I just love it. Now that if you can find it, download it. And I don't know if season 1 is available yet for free, but Cobra Kai, I've been singing its praises for the length of this show. I love it.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any movies. I was going to go with when I found out that we weren't leaving for the weekend. I was like, maybe I'll, go out and catch a movie. I was going to maybe see Once Upon a Time in New York, Hollywood with Brad and Leo. But I heard it was good. I had family members who went and saw it, and they said they liked it a lot. So,
I gotta tell you, I like them. I'm sure it's really good. I have no desire to see it.
Really?
I don't know why. I have no desire to see it. I don't know. I might at some point, but I don't know. There's just something about it that I'm just like, I'm not feeling it. And I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm sure it did great.
It's making decent money. The only controversy, I guess, is that Bruce Lee's daughter's not happy how her father was portrayed in the film. Yeah, I heard it was... some people are saying it's Quentin Tarantino's best. So good on that.
Possible. Like I said.
But I had a good vacation. So how was your week? What'd you do in absence of the podcast?
Well, let's see. What did I do? I mean, so I caught. So as we talked about on the show, one of my friends is John Sundress, who does the Word Balloon podcast, and I will admit we don't. If we actually ever did guests, I'd have guest envy.
He had a guest.
He had Michael J. Straczynski, the creator of Babylon 5.
Wow.
And Straczynski for a while was doing Amazing Spider-Man in the early 2000s when it was really an amazing run. And it was funny to listen to some of the other things Straczynski was involved in that I wasn't aware of. Like, I guess he was part of the writing group who did the real Ghostbusters back in it was at the 80s or the 90s when they did the real Ghostbusters.
Oh, the cartoon. Not the Filmation one, but it was one with Lorenzo Music. The voice of Garfield was Venkman.
Yeah, the one with there was the Ghostbusters, and then
there was the one with
Ghostbusters, but this was the one with the real characters like Ray and Egon and Spengler.
That had Arsenio Hall as Winston.
Oh, is that who that was? Huh, that's interesting.
You didn't know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, that was Arsenio as Winston Zedmore.
Yeah. So he was talking a little bit about that, and I guess at one point he was writing He-Man. Cool. And I was not aware of that either. And like I said, it was a really interesting interview. Because he talks a little bit about it. I guess he's got a new book out about his background and his past and certain things about like his history, and I hear it's fascinating. I haven't picked it up, but the interview, that's funny because they're going to be. Before we go out on the show, I was talking to Mike about Terrific Con, which is a small con up in Connecticut at Mohegan Sun, and I mentioned to him about how there's some really interesting people like Storenko's going to be there. George Perez was going to be there, but he's not going to make it. But one of the people who's going to be up there is Michael J. Straczynski. And I believe it's funny. I haven't gotten around to this interview yet, but he got to interview freaking Billy D. And I'm like, you suck. I hate. It's like that's really cool. That's
Billy D.
Billy D. Williams.
Oh, Billy D. Oh, Lando. Obviously,
yeah. Freaking duh. Mr. Colt 45,
I saw him at a GenCon many years ago, and he was just...
Did you?
Yeah. He was just at his little table, signing stuff, and it was like he was in jeans and a ball cap, just kind of...
Yeah.
Here I am.
Now he's... now he's back.
Now he's back, baby. He's back in the Falcon.
And it's funny because I guess that's one of the parameters was... You cannot ask any questions about Episode 9 in any way, shape, or form, or anything having to do with the current 3 movies.
Yeah, right.
I haven't gotten a chance to listen to the interview. I'm sure it's very interesting because there's a lot of other stuff that John's really good at bringing stuff out.
Yeah, Connecticut is a way off, man. I've never driven. I think you'd have to drive through Ohio, through Pennsylvania, and then, well, not much of it's Pennsylvania, but you have to through New York, though.
The only thing about Mohegan Sun is that's an Indian casino. So there's a part of me where I'm like, comics, booze,
gambling.
There's a part of me where I'm like,
oh, there goes all my money.
Yeah, I'm like, seriously. No, hold on. No, it's not, because we have a plan, which is go to the casino, make money, go buy more stuff, go back to the casino. Make more money.
When you run out of money, just go. Yeah. You run low on cash. You can just go back to the tables and maybe
P.S. This plan is a horrible plan. Don't ever do this.
Don't ever do this.
I have a buddy of mine. I do have a buddy of mine who, before he goes to GenCon, he stops somewhere in Indiana at the gaming tables, and his plan is that he's going to make money to go to GenCon. I really do. I don't lie. He has done it on numerous occasions, and God bless him, he's made money every time. But I sit there and I'm like there was one time it was come on, let's go. He's like, we have to stop at, I can't remember what casino it was. I'm like, dude, I want to get there. He's like, we have to stop there. I'm like, why? It's like, I got to make money. And I looked at him like, you got to be kidding me. And he's like, no, I'm going to make money. I'll make all my money, and then that way we'll be able to do all kinds of fun stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to fight with you. Fine, let's do this. And he made it. He made a whole bunch of money. And I'm like, okay.
Well, good on him.
Yeah. So I listened to that interview. I'm trying to think of what else. I saw Long Shot, because that was on demand. I saw a Long Shot, which was on demand. That's Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron, the one where
where she's the candidate.
Right, she's the candidate, and he's and basically he's like the writer, and then the next thing you know, they end up hooking up and all that stuff, and it's amusing. It was fun. It's just basically, how do I put this? It's your typical raunchy Seth Rogen movie, except there are a little bit more interesting parts to it because you got Charlize Theron. Or Theron. I'm sure.
Charlize Theron.
Yeah. But
it's like a Klingon name.
Right, but you've got her in it. And by the way, she's looking absolutely amazing in this thing. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. It was entertaining. It was funny. It's worthwhile. I mean, if you were going to ask me on a scale of 5, I'd give it 3 yeah-mans.
There you go. Well, then it wasn't good, just not great, but just entertaining, right?
It was entertaining.
Okay.
If you're looking for something that's funny in a comedy, and obviously, definitely, we're talking MA-14, because there's definitely some things in there where it's like, not for PG-13, that's for sure.
So it's skirting the bound. It was R, wasn't it?
Oh, it has to be R.
It was R?
Based on some of the things that were done,
all right.
It has to be R. Yeah, so... but yeah, I mean, there's some funny stuff in there, and it's interesting, and it's a little bit more developed than some of the other Seth Rogen kind of movies like that. It did kind of remember what's the one? Oh, what's her name? Katherine Heigl. It kind of reminded me in some ways of Knocked Up. You're silent.
Yeah, I never saw that movie.
You never saw Knocked Up. Okay. No. In some ways, it's kind of the same kind of blueprint in some ways, except it's a little bit different thing where it's kind of the Beauty and the Beast kind of thing, and Charlize is obviously higher on the food chain than Katherine Heigl, but you get the idea. So there's that. Trying to think what else. The end of season 1 of The Good Fight finished because they've been running it on CBS because originally they wanted to try to get Emmy nominations, and I gotta tell you that was really good. I may have to go get CBS All Access to watch the other seasons at some point. I'm not in a super hurry to do it, but that certainly was worth watching. And if anything, I don't know how we push this, but it's like with some of these networks that have these shows that they're creating for their own content like this, especially like CBS, it's like, why not take a show like that? Because I think they're on they just got done with season 3 of The Good Fight. Why not take a show like that and put it on like this over the summer? Because you're behind a few seasons. And then get the money.
I think the streaming television needs to adapt to and change its formula or do something different other than what is going on in broadcast television.
Well, I mean, for example, so they put it on regular CBS because they wanted to try to see if they could get Emmy nominations off of it. And in fairness, it's good enough to get them, but they didn't get any. Okay, but to me, I'm kind of looking at it and I'm going, I'd be curious what they did put it on during the summer. I would be curious what the numbers look like for the 10 episodes that they aired, because there's a part of me where I'm like, you could do, I mean, if they're 2 seasons ahead, If every summer you aired their season, sure, why not? I mean, you're still selling ad revenues, and you already had the product. There will still be people that will sit there and go, you know what, screw it. I want to see what happens, and I can pay for it right now and watch the rest and binge. There will always be those people. It's no different than like back in the day we were on the radio and you heard a song and you were like, oh my God, I have the Tiger. I have to go out and buy the cassette. So I want to hear it a million times. No different, really. I don't know. What's your take on this?
I don't know. I said I don't watch much television, so and there's certain things that were like I got friends who can get the things.
Right.
But I do plan to commit to Disney Plus for at least a couple months. See what they're about, especially when these new shows start dropping. Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not in a hurry. I certainly want to do Disney Plus, but I'm not in a hurry. In some ways, I don't want to get stuck with I gotta wait until they drop that week. I mean, the funny part to me is, I don't know.
As far as we know, the new content is being filmed now, so it'll be months until it's ready. So I don't know if any shows will be ready when they launch the streaming service. I presume they got to have at least one ready.
I would think
just to entice people to sign on. So
and that's like I said. I mean, to me, like for example, I know Picard is going to be on that CBS All Access.
Yes.
So there's a part of me where I'm kind of like, all right, maybe I'll wait to watch The Good Fight and binge The Good Fight until after all Picard gets on there, and then that's killing a whole bunch of birds with some stones. And that would be cool. That would work out in our favor. Let's see what else. Did you? Where are you on Krypton?
It's sitting on the DVR. I was gonna plan to watch a couple episodes, but Wednesday is when I went over to my friend's house to watch Cobra Kai. So I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not up to speed on Krypton.
So ironically, I think the next episode is.
Is it this week?
The next episode is the season finale.
Oh, what already?
I think we're there already.
Holy crap!
And in some ways, I gotta tell you, I'm kind of like, given where they left us, I'm kind of slightly disappointed this season.
Well, let's see. We'll wait till the season finale to give an overall feel for the season because they left it as such a big cliffhanger.
Well, that's what I mean. I feel like they left it as such a big cliffhanger, and then we went back to, I don't know. I mean, what episode did you watch through?
3, I think.
3?
3 or 4. I don't remember.
I mean, the part that I kind of laugh at is it's like you've watched enough where I can sit there and I can say this. It's like when they put Seg and Adam Strange together, that works.
Yeah, I like that little banter they had when they were running away from Lobo.
Right. Right. Lobo works.
Yeah.
The irony is later on the season, Brainiac works.
Yeah, he did for a while. Some of it, like I said, it was kind of like, all right, but no, it has its good points and bad points.
Right, I think that's.
But I'm still I'm able to overlook the bad, and I'm still enjoying it so far.
Right, I think that's where I'm at. There's some stuff where I'm like, "Ooh, that's cool," and then there's points where I'm just like,
yeah.
Right, exactly. That's the problem. Where there's stuff where I'm like, I don't care. We don't need this part. You're wasting our time.
We're still in the same tunnel. That was my problem in season 1. They spent like half the season in this freaking tunnel with the same freaking window. Felt like I was watching the Flintstones, like Fred and Barney walking past the same window and the same lamp.
Well, and there's, there were some things that they did where I was like, oh, this could be interesting. And then it was like, yeah, not so much. I'm like, I don't care. And like, and there's certain characters it's like, I should care. And I'm like, I don't care. like, it's like Zod. Maybe it's just me. It's Neo before Zod. It's like, I don't know. There's a part of me where I'm like, Zod's a puss.
I'm not watching up to season 2 yet, but from what I got of season 1, I liked Zod, but he's maybe that's like when you finally get like when the villain wins, when the villain finally gets what he wants.
Yeah.
That's when you see not just how he can twirl his mustache and see how he can do evil to the heroes, but then it's like, oh, now what? I mean, that's when a hero can shine. When he's won, is what he's going to do with what he's got.
I mean, he does have his moments where he's twirled the mustache, but there's way too much where it's like, okay, now I run the place. And it's like, okay, whatever. I don't know. I mean, there's some things that he's done that have been interesting, but I will tell you right now, Lobo is gone after that point where he's gone, because I think you've seen that episode, and it's like I'm just sitting here the entire time going, can we get Lobo back? Or is he gone? Is he gone for the rest of the season? I'm thinking he's gone. I think that's it. I think that's all we get of Lobo is those episodes at the beginning. And maybe that's partially because they were just putting him in to do a spin-off and get him spun off with his own show, but there's a part of me where I'm just kind of like, no! Give me more Lobo! What the hell?
Well, maybe they'll write him back in for season 3 if now they've found out that he's what the people want. Maybe they can give him a little more of that. We'll see.
Well, I guess he's going to get his own show.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I'm like, so was this just kind of backdoor pilot land, and now he's getting the show, and we're never going to see Lobo on the show again? It's like, how does this relate to... Okay, I'm not doing this.
Oh, well, we know what you are doing, and that's the Crisis on Infinite Earths on WB.
My God.
It seems like every day they're dropping more names.
Oh, my God. You know what? Speaking of which, there's a thought. I mean, I think I wrote it today on my own personal page. I didn't put it on on ours. But I'm like, what could they... Every time I turn around, they're adding somebody or they're adding something where you're like, this thing is going to be... I mean, this seems like it's going to really kick ass.
Yeah.
I mean, they brought in Marv Wolfman to write one of the episodes or to be involved in writing some of the episodes. And he's the guy who initially wrote the original Crisis at Infinite Earths. And Marv wrote the Teen Titans, quite a few of the Teen Titans shows for Cartoon Network.
Wolfman's he's gotten around, that Marv.
Right, he can do TV. So between that and the fact that you were talking about Guggenheim, I think it'll work out. And then every time I turn around, they're adding somebody like, I guess, Kevin Conroy, who has been for years the voice of Batman and every animated, but now he's going to be the live action Bruce Wayne. And then today they're talking about apparently Michael Rosenbaum is coming back to play Lex Luthor from his Smallville days, and that means that Tom Welling's probably coming back to play something. And Burt Ward is showing up, but we have no idea what Burt Ward's playing. For all we know, he's playing crusty old Robin from Dick Grayson from back in the day.
Yeah, we don't.
I don't know. Obviously, we now have a Bruce Wayne. I don't know if we're gonna have a Batman because we're gonna get.
What if they put Kevin Conroy in the Adam West suit?
Maybe.
Having to throw the cheese on it, that might ruin some childhoods.
I don't know. I think they'll be okay with it, but
yeah, no, I know they're going to be. I know. I'm just.
I mean, honestly, to me at this point, it's like, all right, what? And then they got Brandon Routh. He's going to play apparently a Kingdom Come Superman, and I'm like, okay, this is all friggin' phenomenal. And I feel like I'm missing some people too, but you get the idea.
Linda Carter.
Yeah, Linda Carter. Yeah. I'm still waiting for, I think there'll be more.
It's possible.
I really do.
It's coming.
I think there will be even more than what we've gotten. I think there'll be, for example, perfect example, we were just talking about Krypton. Somebody said to me, it's like, well, could Adam Strange show up? Sure, why not? What about Lobo? Well, maybe. What about the Titans show? somebody from the Titan show or from Doom Patrol or somebody like that. Or there was, in Smallville, there was a Justice League where it was Bart Allen, who was technically Impulse, and their Aquaman, and Cyborg, and Justin Hartley, who's with This Is Us now, who played the Green Arrow. And honestly, I'd like to see Justin Hartley come back to see his Green Arrow with Stephen Amell's Green Arrow, which would be amazing. I just don't know they're going to be able to swing that.
Yeah, I think this is going to be DC's saving grace, is that they can pick and choose from their favorite franchises and mash them together and have them create the multiverse.
Well, and supposedly the guy who I can't remember his name, the guy who plays Black Lightning is saying now they're in it.
Nice. Right.
And because originally it was, oh no, that's going to be separate, and it's like, no, they're going to be in it somehow. I'm curious if they're really going to, in the book, they mold everything into one world. So I'm curious how this is going to fly.
So now you're at the point where oh my God, this is awesome. And then you're like, this is either going to be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Is that, where you're going
No,
with this?
I don't mean that way. I mean, there's certain things where it's some of these characters, I'm curious to see if after this crisis still exists. Whatever Burt Ward's playing, will that person exist? Whatever Kevin Conroy's playing, will that exist? Will we ever see Michael Rosenbaum's... I mean, the amusing part is we're going to have 2 Lex Luthors. Because John Cryer's playing Lex Luthor too.
Oh.
So we're gonna have 2 Lex Luthors.
When is this airing again?
December.
Oof.
Well, let me rephrase that. The first 3 episodes are airing in December. Then they're taking the hiatus break, and the last 2 episodes will be in January.
Nice. That's good. That's good marketing to give the holidays all the time for all the people to speculate on how it's going to end.
Yeah, it's funny because somebody was like, "Why can't they just show it to us at once?" It's called TV and sweeps for a reason, buddy.
That's right.
Sorry, you're not having that, but yeah. I mean, I'm because you're getting Batwoman. Batwoman's in this thing. All the Legends of Tomorrow are in this thing. Arrow, Flash, you're getting just about. I mean, here's the fun part. How obscure do we want to get? For example, I know they've gotten obscure enough to where they brought in, what's his name? The guy who played the Flash in the 90s series, and he played that character last crossover.
I remember that in the CBS, yeah. I used to watch that show.
Right, but that guy played him in the last time crossover where he's played Jay Garrick in the past on the current Flash, but he played the 90s Barry Allen Flash from that planet, and he was involved. Like I said, it's going to be interesting. For example, somebody said today, it's could they go and bring back some of... I don't think this will happen, but, there's that Birds of Prey show from the early CW day, for the early WB days. Could they bring people from that? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that'll happen. I think they'll stick to stuff that people really kind of want to see. I don't know. The other question is Linda Carter coming back as her Supergirl character, or is Linda Carter coming back? Could Linda Carter come back and play Wonder Woman?
No.
An older Wonder Woman? I don't know. Nobody... See, this is where it's going to be interesting because we don't know who some of the people are playing yet either. Some people might be picking up their characters from previous. Some may not. And that's...
Well, then they got it. They got speculation going.
Right. And that's the thing, is they got the speculation going. They seem to be putting it together, and they seem to be really kind of trying to keep it all working together. Like I said, the biggest thing to me that I'm curious about is, in the comic, the objective is the reason why they did it in the first place was to take the multiverse and build it all into one planet because people were supposedly confused and they didn't understand that. Never mind that decades later they destroyed the whole thing and went back to a multiverse. There would be advantages to doing it The biggest advantage would be you can finally move Supergirl to Earth 1. Okay, which would mean that she would finally be on the same Earth as the Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, and you get the idea.
Yeah.
So then you wouldn't have to worry about, she's got to travel from her Earth 38 or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So yeah, it'll be interesting. What else did I see? I watched the first episodes of Another Life. I think it's Another Life, or whatever that new sci-fi show is with what's her name from Battlestar Galactica, Katie Sackhoff.
Mm-hmm. Starbuck.
Yeah. Oh, is that what she plays? I never watched that show.
You never saw the Black Galactica reboot?
No.
Okay.
And that was part of the reason why I never saw it. Is there was a part of me where I'm like, yeah.
No, there are parts that are really good, and there's some of it that still really holds up. I never completed the series on DVD, but I did complete the series. I did finish watching it, and yeah, it was a lot of good parts, a lot of great high points in that series. But the show just kind of ended, and even the writers admitted they didn't know how to end it. But anyway, yeah, Katie Sackhoff, she was great at Starbucks. So I've heard good things about her performance in Longmire.
Oh, I haven't seen Longmire either. But she's in it. Selma Blair is in it. Tyler Hoechlin, who plays the current Superman, is in it. Jessica Camacho, who played Gypsy on The Flash recently, is in it. I've only seen the first 5 episodes of 10. Intriguing, but I don't know. Not 100% feeling it.
Hasn't grabbed you yet?
It's grabbed me. I don't know if it's grabbed me well. It's like emo science fiction is the best way I can put it, and it's like, okay. And it tries too hard at doing certain things that it's like, if its objective is to make you feel uncomfortable, it does a good job of it. And I don't think it's supposed to. But, I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't know. That's all. I'm trying to think if there's anything else of note. Not really.
Okay, I guess we can get into news. We don't have very much, though. After San Diego Comic-Con, they kind of blew their wad. So
yeah, well, we kind of talked.
We got a couple of things, though.
Right, we talked a little bit about stuff. Zombieland 2 trailer came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not a Zombieland.
I was forced to watch Zombieland by an ex-girlfriend, and it was fine. I was like, and it's great for the people who are looking forward to this because that's a cult classic among the peoples. So good on them.
Yeah, there are people who really like that movie, and I can see why. I'll be good with it when it comes out. Trying to think of. I don't know if you saw the preview that Netflix put out for this movie called The Irishman. No, I have not. So it's Scorsese, and it's Joe Pesci, Al Pacino.
Oh, that's right. I saw an article. I maybe not read the whole thing about it, but it's okay. I guess they're using the de-aging CG effects.
Oh, are they? I didn't
Yeah.
catch that far, but
yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of like, it's funny. I think this is the show. This is the movie that could get Netflix what they want, which is to be considered a player in terms of Academy Awards. Especially if you're going to put those 3 together on a screen.
Yeah, if you're going to have those performances, those actors and
Scorsese, sure. Well, and I think that's the interesting part and we've talked about this before, which is the movie theaters have turned into the movie theaters, at most part, have turned into, you got to have a big tentpole picture. And a lot of these types of pictures that could be interesting have kind of found their way to these streaming services and TV. And it's like, that's why I always laugh when people are like, oh, TV's horrible. Well, no, not really. It's just that there's so much of it in so many places.
You just got to find a nugget in that river.
Yeah, and the problem is, if you're still in that mode where you're not, if you're still in that mode where it's like, I just want to turn on the TV and binge something and find whatever's on, you're right. You're right. It's garbage. If you're willing to hunt around a little bit, you can find things, and there's quite a bit out there, and it's better than people think it is, and that's all. We've talked about that before.
Have you planned to watch this series, The Boys, on Amazon?
See, I don't have Prime.
Okay, neither do I. But I have the app, but I turned it off after a month.
Right, I don't have Prime, so that's kind of a no. Because there's some stuff on Amazon I would like to see too, like that Mrs. Maisel thing is interesting looking. It's funny. I've got the WWE Network at the moment because I kept it because I wanted to see the replay for SummerSlam this weekend. But otherwise, I'm getting rid of that. And really, in reality, I've been paying $10 a month for that. I'll get rid of that. Maybe I will pick up a streaming service.
But this new original series of theirs, The Boys, is getting a lot of good reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And Carl Urban's good. So.
Just like I know there's stuff on Hulu where I'm like, maybe. Maybe. Maybe I'll go to Hulu. I don't know. That's, I guess, Marvel's Runaways and Cloak and Dagger, I guess, are doing a crossover episode. I don't know how that's going to work because one's on Hulu and one's on Freeform, so I'm not sure how that works, but okay.
What does, was Runaways originally a Fox, or?
No, I think they've been Hulu.
Okay.
I think they've been Hulu. I think that's where they've been. Because you're thinking about The Gifted.
No, The Gifted was on Fox, yeah.
Right, The Gifted was on Fox, and that's dead, which is really too bad. Because that was it was a good, in the end, it was starting to pick up steam, and it's like, I get it, but I'm like, you guys all suck.
And then it's all like, well, Disney bought us, bye.
Right, well, they're doing the same thing with Legion, and Legion's got their fans, where they did a last season. The difference with Legion is that they kind of told them, yeah, this is your last season, wrap it up. Whereas
at least they had a chance to do that.
Right. Whereas with The Gifted, it was kind of left on a cliffhanger, and who knows what the hell happened. And that's...
You ever had a series like that where you weren't given a chance for resolution?
Oh, God. It's really funny you say that. I was binge watching with a friend 3 seasons of something called Dark Matter. That I guess was a sci-fi show, and it was from Canada.
The name's familiar, but I never saw it.
I think there's a Dark Horse book based on it. And it's interesting. And what's interesting is that they've got a lot of material, and they just, every time you were like, okay, you've got enough material, you have enough subplots of things that are going on, they just kept piling on subplots. And with where they end, they thought they were going to get season 4. And I saw the final episode, and it's like, their final episode, and it's like totally cliffhanger, and it's totally obvious that they thought they had done enough to get a season 4, and they didn't. And you're like, yeah, you left everything hanging. There's a few other shows that are like that, where they do stuff like that. It's like, oh, great, thanks. Where they just weren't sure, and they were like, yeah, we'll take that risk. Great, thanks. That's the sad part. The sad part to me is I wish some of those shows would then get opportunities in places like the streaming services and stuff like that. And sometimes they do, but a lot of times they don't.
Or sometimes they'll breathe new life in the streaming service.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Like, okay, maybe something catches their eye, but now the problem is that entire crew and that group of people and all that, now they're not available if you wanted to do another season. You'd have to figure out how you're going to do that. Yeah, I don't, like I said, it's unfortunate because that happens. In some ways, it's unfortunate because it's like, okay, I guess I'm not watching new shows. Sometimes I get frustrated about watching new shows about that because you're like, okay, is this going to be something where later I'm going to regret it? And I'm going to be like, oh, you know, yeah. But trying to think of what else. So I guess Sean Hobbs did well.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, I'm with you. There's a part of me where I'm like,
well, part of you is like, were you gonna plan to see it?
I don't know. Not real. Let me try that again. Yes, I will. Usually, I wait for those movies to get on demand or something like that, and I'll watch them. But there's a part of me where I'm like, well, it's only $6.
How many of the Fast and Furious have you seen?
I think I've seen pretty much all of them now. But I've never seen any of them in the theater.
Another ex-girlfriend of mine, not the same ex who made me watch Zombieland, but another ex, she was in love with the Fast and Furious series. And she made me watch 2 of them. And I was like, to me, it was like watching paint dry. And it's like, when it's not explodey-wody, it's all Vin Diesel going, family.
Yeah. It gets, I will say this, I think after 5 it gets better. Because they start to add on some people.
Well, it just gets more bombastic and less like believable. And this is the guy who gives, who watches Transformer movies, but it's like, wait a minute. Like there's like in Fast and Furious 8, there's the final battle or whatever, the final scene, the big climax is on this airport runway. And this runway is like the size of Boston, like of the whole size of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I'm like, this runway is like 50 miles long. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, people love it, and people go like what you like. But for me, just not my thing.
Like I said, to me, the only reason I've watched them is they're good popcorn movies.
Yeah.
They're good popcorn movies.
Good action
films.
films.
They are. Like I said, I haven't paid. Like I said, if I went and saw Hobbs and Shaw, that'd be the first time I actually saw one in the theater. Of any of them, I never saw any of them in the theater. I have rented a few,
right?
But I've never seen any of them.
Right, you just put your feet up and grab a bag of chips and just enjoy.
Right, it's been kind of like Friday night, nobody's home. Oh, look, this is available. Boom, let's do this. Absolutely, totally.
$180 million opening weekend.
Yeah,
pretty much made its budget. 60 million domestic, 120 foreign. So that's where the foreign markets are going to obviously save this.
Well,
film.
I'm curious to see how this is all. I'll tell you the funny part about all that is, so I'm curious how this all works because there was so much tension about this movie being made. Because really, most of the rest of the crew was like, yeah, let's do Fast 9. And it was like, nope, we're going to do this spinoff first. And there were some people who were there was some bad blood. Like, The Rock is not coming back to do Fast 9.
No, because he and Vin Diesel are not on good terms.
Right, well, but part of it is because of what happened with this thing.
And now, because.
And I don't know if that means that Statham's coming back to do 9. I don't know.
Or if he does, Hobbs and Shaw 2, and they keep it like Fast and Furious cinematic universe.
Right. And that may, and in fairness, hey, you know what? If you can do a spin-off and you can make more money, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a feeling you might get a 2. As a matter of fact, I have a feeling that you're going to start getting Hobbs and Shaw. And that'll be that. And I'm sure Vin Diesel will love to take his check for creating whatever the hell he created with this, and then he'll shut up. But yeah, I mean,
well, good on them. It made a ton of money, and it's in the lull now because the Spider-Man's done. The Disney films, they're waning down. They've got now that The Lion King and Spider-Man are done, and Toy Story, they're out for a few weeks now. So now Hobbs and Shaw can come in and knock the proverbial door down of the theater.
See, so I think that's.
They got a sweet spot in the scheduling of the film releases.
I think that and Lion King have, because of how late they were. Because I still haven't gone to see Lion King either. I feel like that, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, those 3 movies have a chance to pick up some ground because we're kind of at the back end and there's not much there. The only thing that's there that looks interesting, and I'm curious to see what the numbers look like this weekend, is that Kitchen movie with
that's
Melissa
coming out
McCarthy.
this weekend?
Yeah, that's this weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, no, your reaction is the same as mine. I'm like, that looked interesting. That I might sit there.
That one I
and
keep
like,
forgetting about, actually.
What?
Until people say the name of the film, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they've been doing some advertising on TV for it, and everybody who I've talked to who's, like, seen previews is like, oh, that looks interesting. And I think that might be one of those ones where it might pick up, I think it might. I think it might do better than, I think it might, I hope it does well, because it's certainly intriguing. I'll say that. I thought the interesting thing was, I guess critics gave Hobbs and Shaw good write-ups too.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, that's interesting, for what it is. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, to me, yeah, we're getting close to that point for me where I'm like, yeah, movies, okay, yeah, got it. But then again, we're getting close to that time where it's like we're not far away from fall TV.
Rotten Tomatoes gives Hobbs and Shaw 66%, but 90% among viewers, but 66% among critics.
Interesting. I don't know. Like I said, whoever is doing the locals for Chicago, those critics were like, with the exception of Roper roped it. But that is Roper. Roper once said that the greatest comedy of all time was Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I know. That's what I said, too. That was my reaction when I heard it, too. I'm like, really? He wrote that in his review for Forgetting Sarah Marshall. It was like, this is the greatest comedy ever. And I'm like... It was funny. I watched it. Like, it's funny. It's not the greatest comedy ever, but it's funny. Yeah. No, yeah. Oh, you know what else happened this week? You'll get a kick out of this.
Huh.
So, I had to go I'm hanging out binge watching some Netflix with a friend. I go through the KFC drive-thru. And so I had this coupon, and it was kind of past the coupon date, but I'm like, well, let's see if they'll let me use it.
Oh, okay. You got an expired coupon, and you know it's expired.
Yeah, but the problem is, I'd be willing to pay. Okay, fine. We'll go on this tangent.
Okay.
Sometimes you just want chicken. I don't want biscuits. I don't want the other stuff. I just want chicken. And once upon a time,
I like your potato wedges.
I'm not against that stuff, but sometimes
you just want chicken. I understand.
You just want to buy the chicken. That's
okay.
it. I don't want to buy anything else. And it was funny. There were times where they would be that way, and there were times that they weren't. And I guess they've gotten back to we're going to sell you the other stuff too. It's like, but I don't need the other stuff. I just
they
want
got those family meals or the combo meals.
Well, the thing is, it's like we had all the other stuff at this person's house. We really didn't need that. We just needed the chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the reason why I was using I brought the expired coupon to be safe, because I thought, all right, well, they usually have a chicken deal, and maybe we could do a smaller chicken deal. They're like, no, we're not doing any just plain chicken deals. And I'm looking at the numbers, and I'm like, well, I do have this coupon that says it's for $12.99 for like 10 pieces. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. So I drive up to the window, and it's 12, I'm thinking $13. I'm like, okay. They tell, and then they're like, yeah, with tax, it's $14.55. I'm like, $14.55, but I'm like, oh, I got this coupon. I better keep my mouth shut. Yeah. I don't want them to like look at the coupon and be like, hey, this is expired. I'm like, nope, gotta keep my mouth shut. But I was like, wow, $1.55 for tax. And there's this guy at the window. He's like, yeah, when you buy even the larger quantities, they really bend you over.
Oh.
And I said, meaning, okay. Now comes the part that Mike knows me. Okay.
He opened the door, so Jeff's going to finish opening that door and finish and bang it open with his foot.
No, well, ironically, when you say that, the reason I wouldn't do that is because I would say what I'm about to say next, which is, well, boy, I sure hope they use lube. And he said, what? And I said,
well, yeah, when you say you bend you over, that's pretty much what they mean.
Well, it's the part where I was like, I was going a different direction when you said that, which was, I thought you almost said what I told them, which was, I'm like, well, yeah, if you're going to bend me over, I certainly hope that you're going to use lube. Because I'm like, you'd want to, and I looked up at the guy, I'm like, you'd want him to use lube, right? And he's like, yeah, here's your chicken, go away. He was like, here's your chicken. And he had to look at his face like, go away. I'm like, I'm not the one who said anything about bending over.
Yeah,
anything.
He opened that up. He opened that.
Yeah. He opened it up.
He initiated that line of conversation.
Absolutely. Well, he bent over, so okay. If you want me to put it in, I'm asking if you want lube. Mm-hmm.
So was it good chicken? That was the thing. Was it good chicken?
It was good. Yeah. It was good. I mean, it's KFC.
It's KFC, so it's 11 herbs and spices, 10 of them are salt.
Yeah. Well, that's always the question too. Is it's like, you getting the extra crispy, or you getting the original recipe?
I'll eat either or, but I prefer original recipe.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes you get lucky because
and they'll slip one in.
Well, or they won't have. Like, they didn't do it this time. Apparently, they had more than enough for original recipe. And this is the other part. For some strange reason, they won't give you half and half.
They don't do that anymore?
I don't know. Maybe they do.
They used to have the bucket where you'd get, like, the slice, the little piece of paper in between the original recipe and the extra crispy.
Oh, maybe I should have just asked. Anyway, there was one time where it was like, oh, yeah, we only have a certain amount of pieces of this. Can we give you the rest of this? I'm like, yeah, we can do that. And that's kind of cool when they can do that. But
you get a little variety, yeah.
It's funny. KFC does grilled chicken, but nobody's freaking got it anymore, and it was really good. I mean, their grilled chicken that they used to do was phenomenal.
Wendy's used to have a really good grilled chicken sandwich with the sauce they had on that grilled chicken sandwich. I miss it.
Do they?
Yeah, they used to years ago, but not anymore.
Okay.
They changed.
Yeah. No, trying to think what have I done is there anything fast foody lately that I've tried? By the way, the nacho fries are good.
I haven't tried the nacho fries yet.
The nacho fries at Taco Bell are not bad.
Okay.
It's funny because they give you the nacho cheese sauce on the side. And the flavoring on the fries is good enough. I don't know you need it, but okay. It can't hurt.
Can't go wrong with more cheese.
Yeah, right. Well, there's no cheese on them, but they're just like, okay, here's cheese for dipping. And I'm like, The problem is they give you the small cheese, the small thing of cheese, and you're just like, this is not big enough for the amount of fries you've given me. It's like,
now I want to go upstairs and have nachos and cheese.
Sorry. I did do I did the frozen slushie at McDonald's. That is not bad.
Speaking of fast food,
Yeah.
next week is the Impossible Burger.
Impossible Burger.
Burger King is bringing the Impossible Burger next week.
God.
And this was even like we made a joke of this because Arby's made a joke of it, of a meat-shaped carrot.
Yeah.
So now, the Impossible Burger is coming, and I think I might want to try it. I might even live stream that on the Facebook group. I don't know.
I don't know.
Plant-based cheeseburger. I'm not.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm okay. I mean,
I'm open to a lot of things, not everything.
Here's my question: If you're a vegan, why does it need to look like a burger and taste like a burger that tastes like meat? I don't understand.
With enough seasoning, I'll bet it could probably taste like.
Oh yeah, it can. It can. I did that. I did one of those taste test things where they pay you to come in and eat and do that stuff. There's one nearby, and I can't say the name, but where they bring you in for stuff. Matter of fact, they got me. One of them's got me coming in this Thursday. I can't even remember what I'm freaking doing or what I'm eating or drinking or whatever the heck it is. But I can tell you the last time they brought me in, it was awesome because it was like, we need you to try this. And it's like McDonald's iced coffee, and I love McDonald's iced coffee. Not only that, it was a McDonald's iced coffee with their vanilla flavor. And I'm like, you're paying me for this? Freaking A. You want me to drink McDonald's iced coffee for like an hour, and you're going to pay me? Sold. Can we do this permanently? I'm all good for this plan.
Go full time.
Yeah, seriously. That's like the best. That was one of the better ones I've done. There was another one. You'll enjoy this. And it's the only time I've gotten it, is they brought me in to do at-home pre-made pan pizza. And they would have me tasting different varieties of the pizza. And in between each, the best is what they tell you in between that you have to do to cleanse the palate. For some of these are really funny. For pizza, apparently to cleanse the palate, you must drink this thimble of cream and eat this piece of chocolate bar.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my reaction.
Not just water. I would have been like just water.
No, water apparently is not good enough for that. But
water is not. Oh, okay.
But apparently, my reaction was, so let me see if I understand this right. You're gonna pay me. I can't remember what they pay me, but I can't remember what they paid me. But I'm like, you want me to eat pizza, wash it down with chocolate, and you're gonna pay me? Okay, again, can we sign this up for permanent? Because I'm all good. The only other one that's close to that was there was a 3-day study where they had me like taste all the new Gatorade flavors. That was pretty cool too.
Never cared for Gatorade.
I think they paid me like $90 for that.
For how many hours?
3 hours.
$90 for 3 hours worth of work?
Yeah, but they had me come every day for an hour.
Okay, so it was 1 day, 3 days, 1 hour. Okay.
Right. But like, I think the one I can't remember what it is, but I'm doing one on Thursday, and they're paying me like to be there like only an hour. They're paying me like $60.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's like if I could find more of these to do on a regular basis, it's like, yep.
Oh. I gotta find out more.
Yeah. No, like I said, if anything, there's been a few where it's like they had them downtown. I just didn't want to go.
There's lots of things I'll eat for $60 an hour.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it depends. Like this particular one, there were a couple that were downtown that I just wasn't willing to go downtown. Where it was like, we want you to taste burgers for like $60. And there was a part of me where I'm like, I could do this. The problem is, I also have to pay for parking.
Yeah, and that's $20.
Yeah, that's $20. It's like, forget it. No thanks. There's not enough profit, although it would be dinner.
Well, as much as we'd like to talk about food, I'm getting hungry now.
Yeah, sorry. That was not the plan.
We got any more news before we get out of here?
Not that I can. Did we really have? I thought we kind of had news when we talked about the Crisis stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, just Crisis and the Zombieland trailer, and like I said, San Diego Comic-Con blew their load, so.
Yeah. You got anything? You got anything interesting for the weekend or no?
No. Well, this weekend I'm just gonna do some stuff around the house. Maybe have a couple friends over, but nothing really substantial. So, I got nothing going on this weekend.
Yeah. I think. So I do have something. I'm out at Windy City Professional Speakers on Sunday, but I'm not speaking. I think I'm just doing some evaluations.
Tell us what about Terrific-Con?
Oh yeah, Terrific-Con's this weekend, but I don't. Obviously, that's out in Mohegan Sun, out in Connecticut. Steranko's going to be there. Michael J. Straczynski. I think Billy D. Williams. There's a lot of interesting talent. I mean, and my guys Art and Franco are going to be out there, and John Suntress is out there to do moderation of the panels. So the All Yeah Comics crew is going to be out there in force. Matter of fact, I think All Yeah is doing a kids area for the weekend. So, and like I said, if you're in the East Coast and you're happening to listen to this and you catch it, yeah, it's at the casino. So, yeah, that's
bonus.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes me think that drinks can't be too expensive either. So I'm like, there is a part of me where I'm like, that sounds interesting. But yeah, like I said, that would be interesting.
So many conventions, so little time.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, like I said, I've got the one thing where I've got Windy City on Sunday. Trying to think of anything else this week. I am seeing a play tomorrow. I think something, and I'll play downtown. I can talk about that next week.
We'll talk about it next week.
I'm trying to think of anything else. For people who are aware, I do some Facebook Lives a couple times a week. You can find them. If you put in a Facebook, you put in hashtag Steintime, you will find them. Usually it's more about presenting in that kind of area. But they're available and they're out there. So, Ivan, I think, is doing more stuff at Logan, but I don't know enough about it. I don't know where else he's at. So, what about you?
No, nothing much for me. So,
yeah. Well, we'll see. I have a feeling. I don't think it'll be this weekend I'll get a chance to see it, but I have a feeling we're both going to end up seeing The Kitchen at some point because that just seems interesting.
Yeah. But hopefully we'll have some more new content in the visual media to discuss next week. So
yeah, or we can talk about other stuff.
Yeah.
It's the one amusing part about Ivan not being here is it's like we can't go down the music venue sometimes because, I'm not going to lie, there's times where it's fun to annoy Ivan with the music thing. It's like, well, yeah, because the Bengals are the greatest group of all time. What?
Yeah, not quite his era. Yeah. But Ivan, he's pretty open-minded as far as all their kinds of music. So
no, but it is kind of fun. But... Like it is fun when you find those things from Billboard and they have things and Ivan's like, what the bloody?
Oh yeah, there's some artists he's not very fond of. Yes.
Right. Well, it's where it's the greatest artists in the history of Billboard in terms of numbers and it's Elvis is in the top 5, but Drake is, and Ivan's just what? And it's do you understand that really Billboard wasn't around?
Yeah, I've got an article that I'm hoping Ivan will be here next week to talk about, so I'm saving it for next week.
Okay. If people want to hang out on the show or check out the show, how do they do that?
We're on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. We're on Podbean and Anchor. Download the free apps. You'll know when new episodes appear if you get notifications, especially on YouTube too. Subscribe, click the bell. You'll know when new episodes drop. We're on Facebook. That's where we're most active. Squared is the Roundtable Podcast and our sister show, News is Squared. Shout out to Scott. And shout out to Ivan. Ivan's having technical difficulties. He texted me a couple times during this show, so hopefully we'll have him back next week. And, of course, you can email us at sotrtpodcast@gmail.com.
Okay, well, that's going to do it for us this week. Thanks for joining us on News of the Square. on Squares of the Roundtable Podcast. Have a great week, everybody.